Hello everyone, it's Monique again, and today I'll be speaking on corporal punishment. This is very interesting. This is very interesting because first, most Kenyans are aware with this kind of punishment. Let's be real. Everybody, I'm sure everyone to some level has experienced this kind of punishment. If you're African or if you're born African, especially if you are born in a black African family, you must have experienced some kind of corporal punishment. Corporal punishment ni viboko. Ni vita ama viboko. And this is something that is so embedded in us because they usually say, most of African parents and teachers, they usually say that they usually like to quote a verse from the Bible that says, I don't know, spare the rod, spoil the child. But some of that is BS because some of you actually misquote this verse and you go full force on your children, you go full force on many people that you don't like. You just want to cause havoc everywhere in the name of discipline. Back in school, especially primary and high school, we used to have this kind of punishment, and I can tell you it was hectic. It was very hectic. It was painful. It was degrading. It was humiliating. But I actually came to realize that actually corporal punishment is illegal according to the constitution of 2010 of our country, that it shouldn't be administered. But to some point, um, there was I can actually say there was some goodness in it, because the authoritative figures of our you know of our setup, like the cultural setup, like the whole social setup, they actually used this to administer discipline unto us when you were small. Because if you actually look back, and children of nowadays, especially let's say the Gen Alpha and what have you, they've come to a point where there's like low respect for the elders, and even us as the Generation Z. But this kind of punishment really, it streamlined us to become better people. That is the goodness of corporal punishment. At times, you look at a kid and you see like they are wamezembea sana, ama kuna njia ambayo yendi, they are really getting into the nerves of their parents, they're really getting into the nerves of their teachers. But here's where the problem comes in. To what levels can we say that this corporal punishment, now it's actually lethal, it's actually deadly? First is if when you administer it and it happens to injure or cause the death of a person. Could be your specifically talking about children, because this is something that as you grow up, you are expected to be a grown up, so it won't be administered unto you as much, unless maybe you go to jail. I had a rumor that in jail, you get whooped. But to what levels, I ask again, to what levels do you think this is actually lethal? First is when, as I had said earlier, sorry for repeating, that if it causes serious injury and death of a child or any other person, could it be, not only children per se, do you think that's lethal? Actually, I do think it's lethal. We've had cases like those in high school, in various high schools in the country. We've had various cases of those even in people's houses, that a parent or a guardian actually hit a child to death. We've had cases of like that in, say, um leave that alone. But the thing is, if it causes the death, that's one thing. Another thing, if it causes that person to be maimed, or if it causes some form of disability. Number three, if it causes physical or even emotional trauma, if it causes that child to have like PTSD and something, because some of you use that corporal punishment as torture. If it actually brings something else, like a disease, say you used a weapon, or a weapon that you can use to administer that punishment, then it can actually cause some diseases. Because once you get a wound, once you damage that child, obviously the wound is open, so they are likely to get the diseases. But I'm actually against it if it's caused to some degree. It's actually good if it can make the child rectify their mistakes. But if they don't actually get to rectify their mistakes, then I don't know, we'll just leave it to God. Or but that's just my opinion. I'm against it in a way if it actually lethal, but it's at some point it actually helped us. Most of us were born in the early 2000s, na kwenda nyuma. Back then, even our parents, they told us that that was a way of ensuring that they became the best citizens of the nation. But again, as I say, it isn't actually when it to some level it isn't actually the best thing. Thanks. And please like and subscribe and share on my channel. I'm Moniki Kingori, and thanks for joining me.